Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the 19th day of the month of September 2024, Thursday of the 24th week of the year, the 24th week in Ordinary Time. It is also my mother's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. So if you know her, you'd say, Janet, make sure that you wish her happy birthday on any kind of social media or anything else that you might be connected with her on. So it's my mother's birthday today, and so at the beach, it's not such a great day. So hopefully she's having a better day in Connecticut where she is. She'll be going to Virginia to be with my sister and my nieces for a spa couple of days for her birthday. I'm here with priests, so hopefully they'll have a different time than I'm having. So, but it is a very cloudy, not a very cloudy day. It's a cloudy day today. It's an overcast day. There will be rain in the forecast, so we continue to pray again for Brunswick County here in the Carolinas, as well as for the people on Bald Head Island who are getting their lives back together again. The island is off limits to anyone who is not a resident because there's a state of emergency there. So keeping all those people still in prayer because of this storm on Monday that turned out to be much more than people anticipated. But on this Thursday of the 24th week in Ordinary Time, Corinthians continues with as we're moving towards the end of it. Paul has to give a reminder to the church of Corinth. So the whole latter part of the letter is trying to make sure that the church of Corinth recognizes just who it is now if it follows in the footsteps of Jesus. And here Paul gives the great passing down in the problem about the supper that includes the Eucharist in it. What was passed down was basically what Jesus did the night before he died. Now, this is the passing down of Jesus' resurrection. Again, how he suffered, how he died, how he was raised, who he appeared to, and then go through the lines of that. And now, last of all, he appears to Paul, although he isn't worthy. Paul then goes on to say he's done more work than anybody else in spreading the gospel, which is, again, Paul's wonderful way of puffing himself up all the time. So, he moves to the ledge of basically, he moves to the edge of basically doing something really good that everybody could say, yes, we'll come on board with that. And then he acts with arrogance, of course, because that's Paul. But then he says, but it's not me, it's the Spirit of God. And it's like, come on, Paul, everybody knows you're talking about you. And that's the problem. But the idea is that this has been passed down. There have been witnesses. So if anybody, I guess, was doubting within the community at Corinth whether or not Jesus truly rose from the dead or any of this means anything, Paul is basically quick to affirm the fact that this is true, that it did happen, and that Paul is one in the great line of many people who is spreading this good news. Again, the importance for us always, again, to consider this, is like, is the resurrection a pipe dream? Is the resurrection kind of a fantasy? Is the resurrection sort of a wishful thought that, that makes things better and that allows us, to keep moving forward in our lives? No, it's not a pipe dream. It's not a wishful thought. It's not a fantasy. If it is not real and did not happen, then as Paul will say, either later on in this letter or in the second letter of the Corinthians, then everything is in vain. And what are we doing? It's kind of stupid for us to continue, even believing that we are a community of Christ or a community of God, because all of this that Jesus said would happen to him didn't. So it does, and it did. And again, all of these great witnesses that even continue in our lives today, pointing us in the direction of what it means to be part of the life of God, a life of God that brings life, a life of God that brings hope, a life of God that allows us to try not to fear any longer about those things that get in the way of us living the life that we want to live. It's all true. It's all true, and not a fantasy. In Luke's Gospel today, we have Jesus at the home of Simon the Pharisee, having dinner with him, and a woman of ill repute, not Mary Magdalene. She is not Magdalene. She is not named. She is not Magdalene. She is not Magdalene. So don't put her there. But it's just a woman of ill repute comes into the house, anoints his feet with oil, cries, or anoints his head with oil, then cries all over his feet and washes them with her tears and dries them with her hair and everything else like that. And everyone is scandalized by this. How does this man who is so holy allow this ill repute woman to do this? And basically Jesus, gives Simon, this question: if two people owe a creditor, an amount, and he forgives them both for the amount because they're unable to pay, the one who owes the creditor more is the one who's going to feel the greatest, of the relief, of the forgiveness, and whatever it is. And then he goes on to tell Simon, you didn't anoint my head, you didn't wash my feet, which is very interesting because, again, the washing of feet was something that would have been customary coming into homes, in Jesus' time. And at least in Luke's rendition of this, nobody bothered to wash Jesus' feet. And so it was kind of a faux pas there. But but this woman comes in, she does all these things that Simon failed to do, and yet Jesus is here for both of them. Jesus comes for both of them, and for them to be able to, understand that. He then goes forward again, as he always does, in forgiving this woman her sins, and everyone is basically shocked by this too, because not just the woman of ill repute touching him, but now that Jesus says her sins are forgiven. But see how simple and easy it is. Again, it is the sincerity. It does not necessarily take a rite or a ritual to allow this to happen. It is the sincerity and the desire to want to be more than sometimes we think that we are, or want to be more than what we are at the present, that allows God to continue to work within us, and allows that working to bring us again to new life. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. Keep praying for Brunswick County, for Bald Head Island, and especially again the priests on the second to last day of their retreat. May the Lord give you his peace.